confront Goliath,
Yeah.
that's also a sanguine.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
thinking, by these sanguines sometimes end up thinking very highly of themselves,
Yeah.
even when they're not really equipped.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a good thing with sanguines. They can have, faith can really work well for them.
And you know the thing about, you said it, sanguines are so, how can I say, confident in themselves that they they don't believe they cannot make it. Most of them are entertainers, isn't it? The entertainment industry, stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
and some of them make very good politicians, because politicians, for most of them, you have to be a people person. You have to be the kind of person, you love the energy,
Yeah.
you love the excitement and being out there, yeah? So they are very, very good in public socializing, but also on a personal level,
Yeah.
sorry to say, they can be shallow.
They can be shallow. And I think, by the guys, you need to understand why we are talking about these personalities.
yeah.
One is to know how to interact with a person who is of that trait, especially if they are your spouse,
Yeah.
or even your boss.
Or even a work colleague.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And two is for you to know your weaknesses.
True.
You know, so that
Yeah.
you can focus on strengths, and then also on weaknesses, know how to minimize them.
Absolutely.
Right? So I mean, yes, like you said, I feel like, and that is why sometimes if you're a melancholy spouse or a choleric spouse, sometimes you cringe every time you're in public with a sanguine personality, because
Yeah.
you feel like they
will see and do something.
Yeah, they'll just do something and you're like, oh my
Crazy.
goodness, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you need to know that, funny enough, it works for them.
It does.
What you think other people will find cringeworthy, they're not finding it cringeworthy, because probably there are other sanguines in their midst
Yeah.
that crave for that kind of personality.
You mentioned something that is key. You say they are
Yeah.
very superficial. And in their superficiality, sometimes it can be a wall to shield us from knowing how vulnerable really they are.
Exactly.
You get that superficiality, in the sense that, you know, this is the kind of a person who rent a Bentley and go out of his way beyond his ability to finance a lifestyle just to project an image,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Because again, they value people's opinion. They don't care more of the genuineness, but people's opinion matter to them. Isn't
And
it?
you know, I think that is why it's important to have a balance, because if you ask me, in the context of a relationship, I think a sanguine and a phlegmatic would not do well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why? Because phlegs do not like confronting situations.
God, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so when they see their sanguine spouses doing certain things that are not right, they will not address it because they're afraid of conflict.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So this is why it's important to know these personality types and temperaments, so that you know, should I go for this relationship or should I not?
Exactly.
Now, sanguines are good with melancholies and cholerics. Why? Because cholerics are able to address situations head on. It might irritate sanguines a little bit because they feel like they're being attacked.
Yeah.
But you see now, when you're a choleric and you know what type of a personality your spouse is,
Yeah.
or when you're a melancholy and you know what type of a personality your spouse is, then as much as you try to address maybe the issues they are having, you know how to use the right words to come to them. You know the right environments.
Yeah.
You know that you don't need to be in an enclosed place to address situations. You can go to a place where they enjoy and in a mood where they are ready to talk. You know, but phlegs and sanguines, I wouldn't advocate.
A sanguine is a kind of a temperament whereby they act first, they think later.
Exactly.
But a choleric is think first, because
Yes.
cholerics are critical thinkers. So I think what you're saying is true. They can bring that balance.
Yeah.
Like when a sanguine says, all right, let's go do this.
Yeah.
If you're dating a choleric, they're like, okay, wait a minute, calm down.
Priorities.
Let's weigh these things. Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's true, they can balance
Yeah.
each other out. I'm sure there can be a bit of conflict.
Yeah, there
Because,
must
but
be.
the balance is important. So God is a matchmaker. Yeah. So, for example, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use Rosie's example, and she doesn't have.
Edwin
taste.
likes putting me on the hot seat, but it is well.
But I love the video she uploaded. Please
Yeah.
go watch it. And her husband was in it.
Yeah,
He's a phlegmatic,
he is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And your strongly melancholic.
I'm melancholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a bit of phleg also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said that to me. Your husband is a loyal spouse,
Yeah.
loving,
Yeah.
avoiding conflict, chill, relaxed.
Mm.
You are very poised.
Yeah.
Very headstrong to a certain point.
Very completely. And you know, it works so well actually,
yeah.
because when I'm up there, he's able to calm down, and then when I'm not too friendly, he's also able to bring me into a space of cheerfulness, because flags are also kind of just social people.
Yeah.
They're happy people.
Yeah.
They're calm people.
Yeah.
And for me, honestly, my marriage was very intentional. These are things we actually talked about. Even before we went for premarital, we knew ourselves, you know, and I thought, God, this is a blessing. Because if I would go for, say, a personality that's a choleric, I think we'd have conflict day in, day out. Yeah. Of course, it has its downside of the woman especially being a melancholy, because sometimes you want to take the lead. Yeah, but also now godliness and spirituality. And I told you guys I did a bit of a research of temperaments and spirituality. So when you have Jesus in you, you know how to balance these things. Yeah.
Because a melancholic is an overthinker.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Sometimes, you know, my husband will do something and I'll be like, I'm overthinking. I'm like, why did you do this thing? I need an explanation, you know.
Yeah.
But again, I think to myself, excuse me, calm down. This is your friend.
Yeah.
This is a man who chose you. This is a loyal man.
Yeah.
So trust that whatever he did or might have done was not intentional.
Yeah.
You know, and when you bring yourself back to that stable state, then you're able to discuss things in a rational way.
True.
Yeah.
You know, as I was researching on this, I wanted to know, are temperaments as a result of our environment, or are they genetic? And I was so shocked.
Good question.
Because I saw there's a strong genetic link. You see, there's a difference between personality and temperament. Personality, from what I studied, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
our personality is shaped by environment. But temperament are more into genetics. Yes, there's a link to environment, but it's more so genetic. It's like you're born that way, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, and the thing is, when we started this, I said that the one who studied temperaments initially related it to bodily fluids, right?
True.
So it's very biological,
Yeah.
more than it is about the environment.
Yeah.
So it is really genetic,
It is.
and so there is a level of permanence in it. But the good thing is, as much as there's a level of permanence in it, human beings are open to learning.
Yeah.
And so you can minimize the negative effects of your personality and maximize
Absolutely.
the strengths in those personalities. So yes, I agree that it's heavily genetic.
It is heavily genetic.
Yeah.
Sanguines are very artistic in the sense that their gifts are, their inward gifts and outward gifts. Like we say, they love the spotlight.
Yeah, totally.
Isn't it? So they're very gifted. Most musicians, most actors, most entertainers, journalists,
teachers also,
sanguine.
because they interact with people.
Yeah, and again, when you marry or date a sanguine, just be ready for the adventure.
Yeah.
Isn't it that?
Yeah, be ready for the adventure. But it's also very interesting because then you won't be enclosed. You will learn. You see, you cannot learn all by yourself.
You can.
And so these people help you explore other possibilities that are in the world.
Yeah.
And now imagine you're a person who is able to prioritize stuff, and then you are exposed to what is happening out there. You'll be such a powerhouse just because you have somebody who's helping you open up to other possibilities out there. And that is one of the greatest strengths I think sanguines have. The fact that they are able to blend into the environments and so learn a lot. They are able to learn so much just because of the aspect of networking. In fact, as business people, now with managers maybe who are melancholies or cholerics, then they are able to thrive in business. Yeah.
Sanguines are more like the face of a company, but other temperaments like phlegmatic, they take more the managerial roles because
Exactly.
they are all into details. Yeah.
And sanguines can be good sales representatives.
Very good sales
These people you're
representatives.
sending out there to
Yeah.
network, to
Yeah.
sell your business, they're amazing.
Because when you look at most influencers, brand influencers, they're more sanguine.
Exactly.
Like Jesus.
Diana Mara is
Diana
a
Mara.
total sanguine. Yeah.
You take the camera off of her, she dies.
And you know, networking
Yeah.
and being a sales representative, that is the actual success of a business.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not able to sell your ideas to people, then that's where you get stuck.
Do you think the reason why Bounty, are they called Bounty for Safari? They're so successful. Have you seen
Bonfire, I think
Bonfire? Yeah, Bonfire. The guy is a sanguine.
Yeah, the guy is a total sanguine.
Isn't it, eh?
Interestingly, and the lady is the opposite.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, the lady is the opposite. It thrives on that. You
It
see
does.
those two personalities. It's
Yeah.
actually why their business is thriving,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Why? Because the woman does what she does best behind the scenes, and the guy does what he does best out here. He
Yeah.
talks to people, he welcomes them into the, you
Yeah.
know, all these things. So, I mean,
They are a power couple.
they are a power couple.
works well.
Of course, they have their own
Of course, on a
ups
personal
and
level,
downs.
yeah.
And you see, we talked about relationships and conflict management, and you said that Michelle, there's that video we watched, and Michelle Obama was saying that
Oh,
people
yeah.
separate because of things that are meant to happen in a relationship. And this is the thing about personality types.
Yeah.
Just because a sanguine is out there and you're a melancholy and you're in here, you're an overthinker, it doesn't mean it won't work.
Wow.
You know, you just need to know each other's strengths and weaknesses,
Yeah.
and empower one another. Know what you can do together.
In the context of relationship, take for example the former President Uhuru and Margaret Kenyatta.
See how much power
Yeah.
Margaret Kenyatta brought into that dynasty.
Yeah.
Because she was kind of calm.
Uh.
She was kind of she did things behind the scenes that really improved the image of his husband.
Yeah.
Such that even if anybody tried not to like
Exactly.
the president, the wife brought
Yeah.
in that.
That
That's-
dignity,
Yeah,
that gracefulness.
exactly. I
you know?
love that. Yeah.
And what I love about Margaret Kenyatta is I don't know what her personality is, but she was never emotional.
Exactly.
She was always poised,
Yeah.
always calm.
Yeah.
No matter how politically heated
Imagine.
the environment was, it was her assignment.
Yeah.
You know, she had this thing whereby she brought this mobile clinic,
Beyond Zero campaign.
Beyond Zero, and then she was into jogging and everything. Yeah, she was poised, she was well spoken, she was everything. In fact, in my opinion,
Yeah.
she's one
Of the best first
ladies
ladies.
we've had. So look at the contrast
Yeah.
and how that thing worked there.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
it-
want to mention the other
Yeah, yeah.
first lady because I'm like, oh my goodness.
because the former president,
Yeah.
in a moment of anger, he would say something.
Exactly.
So he was very emotional. I
Yeah.
think he was a sanguine.
And you see, Michelle Obama is the same exact person.
Yeah.
Like, just like Margaret Kenyatta.
Yeah.
Because she's this put together woman,
Poised.
knowing what she wants,
Yeah.
you know, knowing what to do in the presence of her husband, in
Yeah.
the presence of her husband's fans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personalities, temperaments, and understanding temperaments is beautiful, especially in the context of
What do you
relationships.
think was Obama's temperament?
Obama is definitely a choleric, but he also has a phlegmatic
Yeah.
temperament in him,
Yeah.
because he's very empathetic,
Yeah.
but also very stern in the way he
Very,
makes
I think
decisions.
he was a phlegmatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a phlegmatic, but also I don't think you can survive without that leadership.
True.
I feel like, you see, there's some presidents who are out there. They just say anything at
Yeah.
any time.
Yeah.
But for him, he knows what to say and when to say it.
True.
That's why I think he's also a choleric to
Do
some
you know there's some
extent.
people who accused him of never showing emotion?
You see now? That's
Yeah.
a choleric. It's so hard to see the
Because the
emotions
only
of
time
a
he showed
choleric.
emotion was when he was re-elected. He kind of tears,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like I'm thank you guys. No, it's
Exactly.
like so he was accused of being cold. Yeah.
That's a choleric. Most times they're accused of being cold. But honestly, if you look at Obama deeply,
Yeah.
he's also a phlegmatic.
He is.
Because he's very empathetic. And the fact that he has helped so many people, even with his foundation, goes to say that he's not self-centered.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He focuses on the community,
Yeah.
and those are flags. Flags do that a lot.
Okay, let's switch a little bit. Trump and Melania.
Well,
Trump
Now
is
Trump-
a pure sanguine.
guy, is he?
Yes, because before he went into politics,
Yeah.
he had this show called this thing whereby he would come and interview people. Like, why am I forgetting? It was popular.
I think, then I think he's a sang and a
He
choleric.
was into WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
You get it? He was.
He's a sanguine and a choleric though.
He was, eh?
Yeah,
He's
because
very outspoken.
He's dictatorial, like crazy.
Because he would. In fact,
a
I read
narcissist.
somewhere his advisors, his handlers, was so afraid when he
See?
took the mic, he would go off
Or and
script.
say, I know those are sanguines.
Yeah. And then now
True.
his handlers would come back and try and rectify the damage. No,
Oh,
the
my
president did not
goodness.
mean this. Eh?
Yeah, those
And
are
Melania
sanguines.
was so
They get
cool.
excited.
Yeah.
They get, yani, there are people who live for the moment.
And he loved the camera. Yeah. So for me, the reason why he did not win a second time was because his nature got the best of him. He would speak a lot and then his words would haunt him.
You know, the thing is, and if you're a sanguine, this is something you should try and improve.
Yeah.
They're not emotionally intelligent.
You said it.
Honestly, I'm sorry, but we are here to address the weaknesses
Yeah,
and the strengths.
emotional intelligence,
Right?
yeah.
Emotional intelligence is such an important part of leadership, especially.
Very.
Because if you're not able to know how to read people and read the environment, then you might say things, the wrong things at the wrong time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to know what to say and when to say it and how to say it.
And one of the things I really, for Obama, what got to me about him, that guy, man, he was he a phlegmatic?
Yeah.
'Cause,
And a choleric.
yeah, he was so poised. Everything he said, everything he did was
On point.
intentional. He never had a moment of lapse. He never got off script. You get it? And that helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, people said he was not emotional. But at the same time, it helped him in his political career. Because again, like you said, if you just blurt out everything in your head, those words will come in.
Exactly. They'll come back to you.
The former Prime Minister in UK, Boris Johnson, he was angry. What did you say? This is a guy who's been, he was brought down because he used to hold parties during the COVID.
Even
He
this,
just needed people
even
around
this
him.
attorney general, alikuwa anaitwa nani, this person who used to wear earrings.
Oh, Mutunga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also feel like he's a sanguine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, sanguines can really, they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, as long as they're having fun, as long as they're enjoying their seasons, they live for the moment,
They live for
literally.
the moment.
Yeah, and sometimes you also need to look into the future.
Yeah.
And that is their challenge. But the thing is, if you're able to harness their strengths,
Yeah.
you know, like what we talked about in career-wise, if they are able to know, okay, I would do well as a sales representative, I would do well as a customer care service provider,
Yeah.
I would do well as a journalist, then
PR,
even,
maybe?
public relations, all these things
Yeah.
are important, especially for those who are now thinking about going to campus. Remember, people just completed their examinations. For guys who are going into higher education, now is the time to understand your temperament. Yeah, because you need to go into the right career.
True.
So that after that, you know what to do with yourself.
You know, when I was doing a research, I realized they categorized the best careers for each temperament. Like, if you wanted to be someone who is like a melancholic cannot make a good CEO.
Yeah.
Because
Don't do that thing, because if there's one thing, actually, when I'm taking clients through therapy, if there's one thing, the very first class, the assignment that I'll give you is to go and study your personality. And the good thing is the links are free all over on Google. So I need to understand.
yeah, but
who
there you can fill in that test online and you get the results right there.
and you get the results, because it's important to understand yourself first, so that you understand how you perceive things, you know, because
Your
sometimes it's
outlook on life.
because sometimes it's not what you're going through, it's how you're looking at it that affects you. So for sanguines, I hope we have also mentioned the good traits about sanguines, because I
should.
wouldn't want us to leave here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us a few.
I mean, just like we said, in the context of relationships, There are people who will help you explore other possibilities in life.
Yeah.
You will not only get stuck with what you know,
Yeah.
because they really know how to network, they know how to get into spaces.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, when I'm going to new environments, say I've been invited for a party, I've been invited for an event, I like going with sanguines because they are able to maneuver through.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, to some extent, they can leave you alone there. If
Easily.
you don't interact
Yeah.
with other people, they're like,
Yeah.
see you later. But the fact that you're with them feels like you're at home to some extent.
Yeah.
Business-wise, networking, they're great. Sales, they're great. So they're able to expose your company, your business, you know, to other people, and then you're able to make profits as you would
Yeah.
wish. You're able to interact with like-minded people.
Because they make friends easily.
They make friends
Do you know
easily.
a sanguine can enter into a room and talk with people you think they've
I
known each other
know,
forever?
I know.
You know, as opposed to a melancholic. When I enter into a room, I'm like, okay, let me first of all analyze this.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but sanguines, they have no time to judge.
No, they don't.
They just interact with you as you are, and they just accept you for who you
Richard
are.
Branson, is he a sanguine?
I don't know.
The CEO of Virgin. You know the guy who, the Virgin brand? Richard Branson, you know him.
I don't,
He does. He's British.
I don't
He's the guy
you know,
who does crazy things like he tried to go on a hot air balloon across the world.
Okay, that's
he
a
does
sanguine
crazy
then.
stunts.
I
He's
think then that's
definitely
a sanguine.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, sijui atanifahamisha some of these people, but anyway, I need a sanguine in my life, I guess.
Yeah.
So that I'm exposed to some of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, yeah, they really are good when it comes to networking. Number 3, they keep your environments cheerful.
Absolutely.
You know, they help you, they come up with activities that will keep the thing going.
Imagine
Your home
having
will
a
not
party
be
with a
boring. You know, the church will be exciting
Yeah.
because they will look for people who will come and bring activities, fun activities, and all that. So basically, they are the life of the party.
Yeah, the life of the party. I went somewhere, I was invited to talk to some young people in a specific church, and the reverend had hired, you know, young people need, after you talk, before you talk to them deep stuff, because I was talking to them deep stuff, he hired another young man, you know, Ngovo, Auntie Jemima, man, he's good with young people. He's like a hype guy.
A hype guy.
Wow,
yeah, they're also
wow.
good hype people.
He hyped them, there were games, there were all sorts of, and the crowd came alive. Now that they were alive, they sat down now. I told them.
Yeah, because you had already.
Yeah, so we need them.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to network with those people so that you can make everything excited. What temperament do you think a sanguine, which other temperament do you think? Because we say there are 4 temperaments, but sometimes you can find there is a choleric, a phlegmatic in you.
Yeah.
What temperament do you think you might find a bit of sanguine and something else in it? What? A crossbreed, a hybrid.
What would work well with a sanguine? That's what you're asking. Like I said, for me, I don't think a sanguine, for a relationship, I don't think a sanguine and a phleg would do. Even in terms of business.
Do in a relationship?
Well, yes, yes, I think they would. I think they would.
Then
to
who
some
would
extent.
control each other?
Let me see. Okay, I think I join you. Sanguines, 2 sanguines, it would be a hot mess.
I know.
The children would have the time of their lives, but
Imagine,
again, they
yeah.
would turn out to be crazy children. Yeah, so I think a sanguine and a sanguine not healthy. A sanguine and a phlegmatic not healthy, because then there's no one to help bring the other into, you know. Although phlegs are calm, the aspect of them not being very upfront with confronting challenges and all that brings a problem into the equation. Yeah, because we need somebody who will bring a sense of rationale.
Is Diana and Bahati both sanguine?
Now, no, because I think Diana is an extreme sanguine. Bahati, let's see.
There's a bit of sanguineness.
But I think it can't match up to a choleric and a sanguine.
Yeah,
And that
agree.
is why the relationship works.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree totally.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Dana is a sang and a choleric.
Yeah.
That's why the relationship works. Otherwise, if they were both just sanguines, it wouldn't work. And then I don't think Bahati is also just a sanguine. I think he's a sang and a phleg.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in fact, I think for Bahati, the dominant character trait is a phleg. He's a phleg first, and then a sang. The sanguine character trait or temperament is secondary.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because again, with a flag, you are a people person, and in his career, you have to be a people
Absolutely,
person.
yeah.
A sanguine cannot make a good psychiatrist. Why?
Because they're not good listeners.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not,
They're not good listeners.
And they
So
can't sit still for a long time to listen to someone tell them their issues.
You know, that depth is none of their business.
They'll
They're
be like, get over it, let's go and
yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
not that patient with you. They're like, why are you wailing?
Yeah.
There's no time to wail in life.
yeah.
So sanguines, flags, for me, I would say no. Sanguine, I would say no for a relationship. And for business, sanguine flag, I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say no.
Serious?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of prioritizing things.
Okay.
Yeah. If a flag sees a sanguine doing a certain thing, they will not address them head on.
Oh.
Because they want to avoid conflict.
Yeah,
you
they
understand?
avoid conflict.
Yeah.
So a choleric and a sanguine in business?
A choleric and a sanguine in business, that's good.
Yeah.
Because one can be a sales representative, networking.
Because choleric are critical thinkers
Yes.
and good in problem solving.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I agree with you. So like we say with this couple that runs
Oh, Nani, Bonfire. Yeah.
Cindy,
You see, for
yeah.
Bonfire, Simon is out there
yeah,
and Sarah is
yeah,
Uku,
yeah.
undertone.
Yeah.
So it's important for them to have both.
What about Jugush and Wakavinye?
Okay, Njugush and Wakavinye, the good thing is,
Yeah.
well, they are both sanguines to some extent.
Yeah.
Because they
Me, I
interact
thought
with people.
Jugush brought the sanguineness out of Wakavinye.
Wakavinye,
Because she
you
was
think
more-
she's a flag?
Have you seen the original videos they used to make? She used to be behind the camera, used to be in front of the camera, but somehow he convinced her
Yeah.
to come in front of the camera.
But even her energy nowadays,
Oh, a lot of energy.
yeah.
Could she
So-
be a
but
choleric?
also Njugush has some, I think, a melancholy, not a choleric. I don't think he's that headstrong with leadership. He's not a dictator,
Yeah.
but also he thinks about things. He's a deep thinker also. Even the way he
Yes, I
handles
agree
his
with
children, you can tell. So as much as he's a sang, he's also a melancholy, and that is why they really balance
They are such a power
so well.
couple.
They're such a power couple. I love them.
Another pure sanguine. Kate the actress.
Woo! Whoops.
Pure sanguine.
She's a sanguine,
Eh.
but also
And
she's a choleric, imagine.
Is it?
Ooh.
Me, I see the sanguineness in her.
Yeah,
And it
she's a
works for her
sanguine.
because she's a brand
Ambassador.
She's
You
doing
see,
good for
that's why
herself.
it does so well.
Yeah.
As a brand ambassador, that's why it does so well.
Yeah.
Because she's a sanguine, she's able to talk to people, she's able, but also behind the scenes, I think she's a choleric.
She is, eh?
Yeah. She wants things done her way.
Could be.
Yeah.
There's this musician now that we're into that.
Yeah.
I love her music. Mogoro, Masi Mogoro.
Oh, Masika.
Yeah.
Kai, me, I think that girl is, she's a flag to some extent,
Yeah.
but her dominant is either a melancholy or a choleric.
True,
Either.
because she's very deep
She's very deep and very assertive and
Yeah.
very no
and
nonsense.
very, like, you know, especially when it comes to her faith, she's never been moved. She's
No,
very,
exactly.
Her roots are,
Yeah,
I love that about her.
That's
yeah?
the thing about her.
Yeah.
You'll never hear any kind of drama
No.
about her life, and then you see her life is huko nyuma.
Yeah.
The only thing you know about her is what she does.
And do you know, before she shot to fame, she sang for so many years. I knew her from that song, Amo Komete Amaka. But then she took a long period before she really shot. But when she shot to fame, man,
Yeah.
she's been
Yeah,
consistent.
exactly. She's
And
been
fame
consistent.
has not changed her. Isn't it? Eh? Even when you see her feeds on social media, she's always on point.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And you see, that's the danger of being a sanguine or even a phlegmatic. You can easily be moved.
Yeah.
Like for Bahati, honestly, it's because of that superficiality
Okay.
of a sanguine that made him move with times. I'm telling you, they live for the moment.
Yeah.
So that time, gospel was working for him, right?
Right.
So somebody else comes and they're easily influenced, actually.
A disclaimer.
Yeah.
These are not the views of Dimkes Worldwide.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Another thing, we are saying this out of love.
Yeah.
There's no malice whatsoever. We just want to expound and explain
Yeah.
what these temperaments are. So please feel as you're saying.
But
this
you
is
see,
a-
the thing about temperaments, they are facts.
They're facts.
They are
You can't
facts.
change them.
And again, these are things that can be observed.
Yeah.
You know, they are observable changes. Not to say that Bahati does not love God,
Yeah.
but it's obvious that he moved from gospel to secular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, man, I don't think we've even touched half of sanguine.
Yeah.
Time is not on our side. Next week we'll delve into what, Rose?
I think we can go into. Can we do a complete opposite?
Yeah,
Maybe a
melancho-
choleric.
Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely. Final remarks. Final thoughts.
Right. One of the most important one
Yeah.
is to tell people there is no a better personality or temperament than the other.
I'll thank God. you said
All
that.
temperaments are wonderful. They are amazing. Every temperament has its strengths and its weaknesses. So the only reason why we are coming on here to talk about temperaments is for you to understand your strengths and your
Exactly.
weaknesses
Yeah.
and address them accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, God loves variety. He loves diversity. And these temperaments just basically allow us to be effective in our assignments. God knows what you're called to do.
Yeah.
So he gave you a temperament that suits your assignment.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So celebrate your temperament. Get to know what your temperament is. Like my colleague said, you can go online. Those tests are there. You just answer a bunch of questions and it will show you what you lean towards. But I really hope this show is a blessing to you. Next week, we'll be moving on to choleric. As always, we love you. We are praying for you. We want what is best for you. But from Dimkest Eyes, we want to say good night and God bless you.